We are into round number 2 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series number 4. Things are going pretty well. You may have noticed there was a bit of downtime between those two. And the reason there was a bit of downtime between those two was because, of course, there was a match that was going forever. It was just lasting eons and eons. And the match was between Eldlich, not Eldlich, between Zoodiac and Unchained. And that's because there are some terrible interactions with that game. But I'm bringing you that deck again. Behold the next in the Zoodiac line. Zoodiac versus Eldlich. They're already in game, so I am getting you there right now. But thankfully, Dive Missile has afforded us all the time in the world by playing a version of Eldlich that just takes forever to execute its combos. So, I hope you enjoy this exciting matchup. So, firstly, Rolo is someone who's been theory crafting Zoo for a while in the MBT Jank Tank. They have come up with a build that featured in the most recent 10-minute testing, and I'm really excited to see it put into practice here. Their opponent is on Eldlich Mayakashi, and this was a build kind of pioneered as a day one Eldlich until, of course, the community kind of coalesced around Synchron Eldlich as the most popular variant. Basically engineered by Based Lowly, who used the Eldlich monsters as a mechanism to go into extremely powerful zombie boss links like Yukiona the Ice Mayakashi. This is available because Daki resummons itself, and if your opponent is able to punch through your monsters, they have to punch through like 8 or 9 before they get anything done. Other than that, of course, you are just playing Eldlich, kind of the same principle as the Synchro one, except instead of putting up negates, it puts up monsters that are as sticky as the Eldlich spells and traps. It's meant to outgrind existing Eldlich decks, and it does a pretty good job of doing so. The Link 2 being powerful? No, the Link 2 is powerful. It's powerful insofar as it floats into all of the synchros. Occasionally, you do get to play the Link 4 Yukiona, which of course is has on-field negation abilities, but this one's pretty good too. Rolo opening evenly matched, though, extremely good for them. Is MBT still streaming tomorrow? I will be streaming tomorrow at my usual time. I may be quite tired, though. This is a hard pick for evenly matched. You know, banishing the Daki feels extremely bad, but it looks like it's what they're going to do. One set trap, and they're not able to trigger any of the Mayakashis in graveyard. Look at all these monsters just rotting in there. Now, it's not that big of a deal. Any Daki will get them off to the races again. But the Zoodiac player now going to be able to execute their combos, so this deck has a couple of particular ways to make its new big boss monster. Ooh, and that's one of them. They all require a Ram in the graveyard, so I'm not exactly sure, but we'll see if they'll go into it turn 1 blind. Alright, so we're going to go from Thoroughblade into Borbo into Chakanine. Chakanine is going to bring back this copy of Ram, and oh my gosh, are we actually doing it? Oh, I think we are. So, with a Ram on your side of the field, of course, its effect is negated, but that doesn't really matter because its effect triggers in the graveyard. We'll activate Drident in order to send that copy of Chakanine to the graveyard and the Ram. The Ram will then trigger, special summoning back the Chakanine. And fun fact about Chakanine, it is not a hard once per turn. Because all the Zoodiac monsters have the stipulation that you can only special summon it once per turn, they would think, or special summon it from the extra once per turn, you would think that it wouldn't ever come up, but yeah, it is soft, so if you Tiger Mortar to attach a monster under this Chakanine, you can activate the Chakanine effect again, get another Xyz monster out of this graveyard, and then, guess what, idiot? It's time for the new Big Bungus to make its way onto the field. All 3 of these Xyz monsters from the field to the graveyard for Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops. Now, Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops is unaffected by other monsters' effects except Xyz monsters, can't be destroyed by battle except with Xyz monsters, and has the ability to target a disease in your graveyard and a card your opponent controls, special summon your monster from the grave, in this case the Borbo, and attach the card, the Conquistador in this case, to your Xyz monster as material. It halves the damage your opponent takes, but we're already in main phase 2 because of the effect of... Whoa! Because of the effect of... evenly matched. So now we're going to be able to activate the Avarice, the secret powerful card in Zoodiac, shuffle all of those extra deck monsters back, fire off a Pot of Desires because Avarice was printed at a time that drawing 2 cards didn't require an extravagance like clause. And then I think set a couple and pass. I mean, this is really strong. Next turn, they can either overlay for a copy of Trident, or they can activate Megaclops if the Trident is removed to bring it back and then tuck their opponent's card under it. And Conquistador under the Hammer Kong is so powerful, it denies any of the powerful Eldlich abilities. It's going to go to the graveyard here and will... Oh, it's not going to go to the graveyard because before end phase they're going to equip a copy of Whiptail so they can detach that instead of the Conquistador. No Scarlet Sanguine for you, and oh my god, this is the end of the game! All you have to be able to do here is summon any Xyz, and that shouldn't be too difficult. You just got a Tiger Mortar or Chalk-a-9 detaching one of the Xyz. Looks like we're going to go for the Tiger Mortar. That's going to allow a summon of the Hammer Kong. For the Hammer Kong, you can overlay a copy of... Trident, and wow, that might be it. I actually don't think you can even activate Megaclops' effect with no cards on your opponent's side of the field, so it looks like we're just going to battle phase. Do we have another copy of Whiptail in hand? If not, it won't be lethal just yet, but a Trident on field with a Megaclops seems like effectively the end of the game. Nope, just passing it back. Not excited to, like, accidentally get blown out by evenly matched. I kind of like that, right? Like, you got to imagine that your opponent's hand has a bunch of, oh, ridiculous cards like that, but that's a monster effect. It's not going to affect Megaclops. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a pretty big misplay and might cost the game here. All right, we'll activate the graveyard effect of Black Eldlich. That's going to get a Guardian. We'll obviously be sending that Guardian to the graveyard in order to bring back this copy of Eldlich. One thing I know about Rollo's deck in particular is that they're on DD Crow main, but looks like they haven't drawn it. Ooh, revealing the other Eldlich! No, you can't let him know that kind of stuff. And then this Tiger Mortar will go to the graveyard and then banish the Eldlich in response. I mean, I think this is pretty good. No reason to go into Trident against Eldlich. It's not like they're going to have anything you actually want to activate here. They're going to be able to activate both the Guardian and the Conquistador now, but all you're going to be able to get is the one Eldlich from deck and the one from hand. Your opponent can force out early activations by activating Megaclops and forcing you to put one under something like a Tiger Mortar. Yeah, I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good if you're Rollo. Just going to battle phase here says, yeah, go get your Eldlich. Fire off Sanguine, get your Eldlich. Going for the White Destiny, that's going to eat a Solemn Judgment. Next, you're going to have to go for the Scarlet Sanguine. If you do that, in main phase 2, they'll be able to tuck it under a Trident, and that should be effectively the end of the game. Oh, a second Solemn Judgment! Both sets were solemn! Wow, well, that does it. I mean, sometimes you open the nut. And Rollo showing off the power of Zoodiac against the top deck in the metagame. Now, granted, Mayakashi isn't usually the splash in Eldlich, but whoa, that was really dominating. I don't know what normal Eldlich would have done against that board. Maybe gone through a Jet Synchron combo, hope to resolve a... Borreload Savage Dragon that can get over 4,000, but even then you're just getting over the Megaclops. It's not destroyed by battle. Wow, 2 Judgment. Showing off the power of evenly matched. I mean, yes, evenly matched was pretty important in that game, but what did it get rid of specifically? Just the Mayakashi setup? Alright, it is time for game 2. A pretty quick boarding process. Very interesting, because I would expect it to take just a little bit longer. Alright, and it looks like the health bars have corrected. Thanks, YGO Pro. We're going to go from, what is this, Haki? Hajun to Daki. So Hajun, when normal summoned, I think, or specialed? Yeah, specials a Mayakashi from your deck. Daki, of course, is the critical Mayakashi, but on activation, a DD Crow out of Rollo, and that's the end of the Mayakashi train. So we've ended on the wheeled Mayakashi. This card does not do anything on the field, and it doesn't float into anything either. It really invalidates the entirety of the Mayakashi portion of the deck, and now you're just playing Eldlich with a bunch of dead cards. Going to battle phase again. I mean, if I could draw evenly matched every set, I certainly would, and it looks like Rollo has that power. Now, of course, Eldlich does play cards like Solemn Judgment, and it looks like Dive Missile has found it here. Let's see the second evenly matched. Nope. Ooh, Rat Pier. So Rat's a good one. Obviously, one of those two set cards has got to be a Golden Land card. Infinite Impermanence is good enough. It sucks to Infinite Impermanence this Rat. I mean, you never, ever want to be doing stuff like this, negating the effect of monsters on your opponent's side of the field that don't impede their combo progress at all. But it's important in this matchup in particular because normal summoning Rat actually makes Mega Clops through a series of varied nonsenses. You send a copy of Rat and then, or of Ram, and then with Ram in the graveyard, you're able to Chalk-a-9 it back, destroy it with a Dryden, and do the combo that we saw last game. So instead, we're just going to go from Borbo into Dryden, then we'll activate the Dryden effect to summon another Rat from deck. You can still do that, right, chat? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pop the face-up Mayakashi just to get it off the field. No big deal here. Just want less resources for your opponent, and despite the fact that there were a couple of traps activated, none of them actually have Eldlich in their name. So for that reason, they're not going to be able to activate effects at end step. They're going to have to activate this Haketo now for no effect in order to potentially link it off into something like a Link Spider next turn. Or at the very minimum, threaten the Drident. They'll be able to tag into a Sanguine, and then they'll have access to the Eldlich portion of the deck. That might be enough, but it's extremely slow. Alright, well, as expected, there was a Mayakashi return in hand. If you see your Eldlich opponent not playing a lot of cards and they're on a variant that splashes something else, you can bet that they've drawn into some of their splash. Mayakashi return allows you to take a Mayakashi card from your deck, add it to your hand, or send it to the graveyard. They've elected to send to the graveyard Lil Yuki. This is Yuki Musume, the Ice Mayakashi. And a Cosmic Cyclone on this Haketo is the worst possible thing that could happen to Dive Missile. Oh, gosh. So from this position, they can make Mega Clops. That set card's got to be exactly Interaction. Wow. Well, I guess they can make Mega Clops. They still need access to Ram in some capacity. This is where routinely you see Zoodiac kind of screwed up, right? It's very difficult for them to find their way to zoos if they've already been through a couple. You know, Zoodiac used to be such a recursive engine by virtue of Borbo, or, sorry, Broad Bull, but of course Broad Bull's been banned and is not coming off anytime soon. So as a result, they now have to kind of hard draw stuff like Whiptail. But still, you know, this right here is 3 material. It's a little dirtier, you know, no Ram, but it does make Mega Clops. Alright, so now we'll use the Mega Clops effect, targeting that set card, tucking it under what I imagine is going to be Dryden here. Ooh, and no chained activation. It's Haketo number 2. Wow. So we go to battle phase, and it doesn't kill Dive Missile, because, of course, damage is halved for the remainder of the turn, but it does put Rollo in an intensely commanding position. No activation of any Eldlich spell from the graveyard at end step. No availability of something like Haketo activated to be able to go into a Link Spider, even. I mean, this has got to be the end of the game. Alright, we're going to set one card and pass it back, and wow, unless that card is, like, exactly Scarlet Sanguine, this is going to be the end of the game. Even if it is Scarlet Sanguine, we can just activate the effect of Dryden. Looks like we're going for the attack. And that's going to be it. Dive Missile's life to 0, and Rollo walking with a clean 2-0 victory on Zoodiac. I mean, I wouldn't have expected Zoodiac to be playable in the year of our Lord 2020, but it's certainly, that made a pretty good argument for it, you know? They were able to tuck the critical Eldlich spells that would otherwise be sent to the graveyard and allow the Eldlich player to extend. They were able to screw up existing built boards, capitalizing on decks trying to mitigate the already weak Eldlich end boards in terms of, like, facing down aggro threats. I mean, that looked pretty dope.